Hi everybody, it's Thursday, May 13th, 2010. Thanks for stopping by. I'd like to point out a good video that I saw on Symbolic's channel this morning where an atheist talks about his experiences defending Muslims from racism and attacks, especially after 9/11. And he had an interesting observation, and that was that when he started to hand out pamphlets criticizing U.S. foreign policy, he was not only accused of being Muslim, but he was accused of being a radical terrorist Muslim, or simply a terrorist. And it's interesting that they called him a terrorist and not just a Muslim, based on the fact that he was handing out criticism of the U.S. government. And this man is an atheist. Now think about that. Now, if you don't want to believe him, that's fine, but I sure believe him because, I have really experienced that quite a bit myself. I mean, the minute you start to defend Muslims on YouTube, you're going to be accused of being a Muslim. And people are going to start asking you, what religion are you? By the way, do you happen to, have a particular religion that you associate with? And when they ask me these questions, I know what they're getting at. They're trying to figure out if I'm a Muslim, and if I am, they can just immediately discount everything I'm saying and ignore me and just, write me off as a terrorist. I mean, that's literally what they do. If you were to tell them that you're a Muslim, they're going to immediately just say, okay, you're a terrorist, I don't have to listen to you. So that's been my experience, at least. So it's very plausible to me that, just the fact of that you would be criticizing the U.S. government, that they would start calling you a terrorist and a Muslim, especially if if your skin is even a little bit pigmented. They might do that. They might say, oh, this is a brown guy, he's a Muslim. And the atheist in the video, he was very adamant about the fact that all of this is racism, and that's what people just keep denying to themselves and keep ignoring, is that when they drew cartoons of Muhammad as a bomb or as a terrorist, the reason why people objected, like he said, was not just that it was Muhammad, it was that Muhammad was a terrorist. That's what they were saying. And that means that all Muslims are terrorists. So, Muslims throughout the world perceived that as a direct attack on them, because it was. It was a direct attack on every single one of them. So of course they got mad. Of course, some people went overboard, sure. But I mean, if people were attacking Christians in the same way, you can be sure that some Christians would go overboard. And if you don't think that's true, guess what? You're a racist. Okay? I'm sorry, but holding one opinion about God versus another opinion about God, that doesn't change your behavior that much in people's minds. The only way people can believe that you would, not love your children, not be able to build a house, not have any intellect or emotions, automatically be a horrible, evil person. I mean, the only way people can believe that sort of stuff is if they believe that you're a different species of human. That's it. I mean, think about it. You cannot change your mind about God one day and suddenly become a beast. It doesn't happen. And people would never imagine it happening. If somebody goes from being a Lutheran to an Episcopalian, they don't suddenly become an evil monster. They're the same person, right? So, if someone if it was all just about opinions and beliefs, people wouldn't even be saying all these things. So, that's my message for you today, is that, okay, I'm from Mississippi. I lived in Mississippi most of my life. And people don't call it this, but what they had in Mississippi 10 years before I was born was apartheid. It was formalized, institutionalized apartheid. That's what we had in Mississippi. 10 years before I was born. 10 years. 10 years. Okay. Think about that. Think about that. That is not a long time. Not a long time at all. And when I was born, people just did not think about weird outer space concepts like people being equal. That was some kind of weird, that was something from another galaxy that did not exist. Equality. That's crazy talk. Okay, that's what it was like when I was a kid. And so it's really amazing to me looking back on it how things developed in Mississippi, because something happened less than 10 years before I was born, probably, where Mississippi came within an inch of seceding from the United States again and having another civil war. Did you know that? Yes, it happened. There was a man called James Meredith, a great man, who was raised by another great man, his father, who had the foresight, the wisdom, to remove James Meredith completely from the society that he was growing up in. And he taught James Meredith that he was a human being, that he was no different from anybody else. There was absolutely no difference. Nothing in the world separates you from those other people across the street who are white. Nothing. And we're not going to talk to them. We don't need to. You mind your own business. You stay here and work on the farm. And you just remember that you're just like those people over there. Now, James Meredith, he took that to heart. And when he grew up and he went through the Korean War and he came back, and he decided he was going to go to Ole Miss. And he lived with constant death threats. And he had the governor of Mississippi, a man whose name graces practically everything in Mississippi today, a man by the name of Ross Barnett, personally stand in the way so he could not register for college. Now think about that. Now, Ross Barnett was a demagogue, like some other people we know. And he had the idea that if James Meredith enrolled in college, it would be the end of the white race. It was going to be genocide. They were going to push us into the sea. They were going to slaughter us in our beds. It was going to be just open rebellion everywhere. And the white race would be destroyed. And the black race would take over and push us into another dark age. And people believe this. People really believe this, like some other people you may know. Some other people that like to come to my channel, for instance. They have the same sort of ideas. And, at the end, Ross Barnett backed down and he said, okay, we'll try to live with this. And James Meredith went through college, got his death threats every day when he got to school, and got his degree and went on about his life. And you know what? It's just amazing to me how people changed, and there was no big war or big rebellion or big ethnic cleansing in Mississippi. Everybody just gradually learned to live with each other, little by little. And when people, basically what I'm telling you is, I know racism when I see it. So any of you people out there who want to be a racist and then tell me you're not a racist, first of all, you are hypocrites. And second of all, you will never fool me in a million years. Because I know. Thanks for watching.